Hi, guys. Welcome to another episode of Natural Fertility with Dr. Jane. I'm your host, Dr. Jane, naturopathic doctor, natural fertility expert, and I help couples who have been struggling with infertility for more than a year get to the root cause and conceive naturally. So today, I'm really stoked to invite one of my couples who have been struggling with infertility for more than a year to the podcast to share your guys' story. Melanie and Justin, thanks for being here.
So glad to be here. Thanks for the invite, Dr.
Thank
Jane.
you.
I remember when we first met, and we had an instant connection, I would say. We vibed very well right away. And I remember thinking, I want to invite these people on a podcast. I really want to help them. So I'm really stoked to have you guys here today and share your journey. Tell people who you are, where you're from, and where you were 18 months ago now, I guess, a year and a half ago.
All right. So our journey started about in 2019. We started trying to conceive. Unfortunately, after 3 years with unsuccessful pregnancy, we went to the fertility clinic and got diagnosed with unexplained infertility. I still remember that day. We sat down with the doctor and she went through our results just to tell us that everything looked good on paper. And we had approached her and said, okay, so what's next? And she had suggested that we do IUIs or IVF. And she said to reach out to her team if we wanted to continue along towards that journey. And I remember when we hung up, it was like a not even 10-minute conversation. I think we were more lost than anything and more confused. And we just decided to go on a hike and we reached out to Dr. Jane. And not even 3 days after, we had our appointment.
Yeah. And just to add on to what Mel said so well is that when we had that final appointment with the doctor at the fertility clinic, basically, she said everything was fine. And she just says, well, since you've been trying for 3 years and given that at the time we were 29 years old, you have a 5% chance of conceiving. It made no sense to us being told that. And we're like, okay, but like, is there something else that we can do? Because Melanie and I both wholeheartedly believe that we could do this naturally. Like, we didn't have any doubts in our minds that we could do it. But in being told that from a fertility clinic, we started second guessing ourselves for sure. So
it's a big diagnosis. Did you guys end up reaching out for help before the 3-year mark?
After the first year, I reached out to my doctor because I suspected a few things, shared with her how I felt. I'm like, I feel like maybe there is something off, but based on results and tests, everything came back okay. And she kind of brushed me off. She's like, oh, you're still young, keep trying. Sometimes it takes a little longer. And innocent us, we're like, well, I mean, we're going to just listen to the doctor and do what she told us. But then after we did it, maybe 6 more months, we tried and we're like, okay, no, we need help. And I reached out to a naturopath. She's, I guess, specialized in fertility somewhat. We ran some very basic blood work, nothing major. A few things came up. My prolactin was slightly elevated, but nothing alarming. There was food sensitivity, so she wanted me to eliminate all the foods that triggered me and everything.
Which wasn't very much. Like, there was like 4 or 5 things on the list, especially for Justin, because you ran that test too.
So I think I stayed with her for about 3 months, but I knew deep down I was going nowhere.
How did you know that?
I didn't see any improvements. I could have Googled it myself.
Well, is it the fact that you felt that she was just so focused on your prolactin level, like nothing else, and it was just like baseline testing, right? So it's like,
and even to the point where my doctor wanted me to go get an MRI to see if I had a tumor. And after that, that's when we reached out to the fertility clinic. And then at that point, we wasted, I can't say wasted because we were innocent and we're trying things, but we wasted 3 years until we found you.
Tell me, why did you not want to do the IVF route and the IUI? Because I remember meeting you guys and you were pretty strong about that.
I just think ultimately, like I said earlier, I just think deep down we both knew that this was something that could be done naturally. It's a natural concept, right? And we believed in ourselves that we were able to accomplish this, like no matter the obstacles. Like, and then it's almost like I felt like I was giving up on our bodies in a sense and just going with this concept that we'll not do the work for you, but you know what I mean? Like, anyways, all this to say, like, it's natural. And it's like, to me, it's like, I'm giving up on the part of working ourselves through all this to be able to achieve that goal in a sense.
And I knew going that route, I was never going to fix
That's
the
right.
root cause of what was causing me not getting pregnant. It was maybe a quick fix, but then afterwards, I would have felt the same way. It would have dragged on. I wanted to really get to the cause of what was going on to my fertility journey. Because I mean, I considered ourselves still healthy, young couple, but
Totally. You are like you were 26 when you started trying, right? What is it, the things that made you feel like I think there's something wrong here and that's why I can't get pregnant, but I just can't seem to get anyone to pay attention to this?
my digestive, like I had nausea, my appetite wasn't there, my anxiety, and then maybe this is too much information, but
It's not.
like lower libido, that's
Yep.
not normal at that age.
Yep.
I just knew deep down that there was something causing like an imbalance of somewhat either hormonal or like just my microbiome. Everything was just off. And I've struggled with digestive problems probably since I've been like 13 years old or even younger. So it's been a constant battle. I mean, now I'm so appreciative that we fixed that, because now I get to really enjoy this pregnancy and not feel sick to my stomach all the time. And I'm able to eat what I want and, well, not what I want, but like feed my body, and my body takes.
Versus like going through you or not having appetite. And
Yeah.
Justin, what about you?
So like for me personally, like it's not directly related to fertility per se, but like I've struggled with acne like all around my body, like since I was honest, I'm pretty sure like grade 2 or 3 at most, which is crazy to think that I was taking prescribed medication for that since I was in elementary school. And creams, and nothing was working. Ended up taking Accutane, as I shared with you. And then like the symptoms I would get from that was insane. Like thinking about it now, I'm like, why did I put my body through that? It makes zero sense. It had worked at the time, but like most of it had come back like within like a year or two. That my energy levels too, I felt like for somebody in my mid-20s, albeit I'm still athletic, high energy, like I go out exercise, sports and stuff, but I still felt like for my age wasn't performing. So those are probably the two main factors for me.
What I want to outline is because a lot of people have this like gut reaction, if you will, or like this gut instinct, I should say, to something is wrong. I know this is probably tied to my fertility, but my doctor keeps telling me that it's not. So I guess it's not. And I guess I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. Where, you know, fast forward to our meeting when we first met, why was it different?
Well, first of all, you sat with us for probably over 2 hours.
Yes.
And I still remember that day specifically, like you gave us chills because I feel like you read us like a book.
Yes.
And you knew from the get-go that you had like a pretty good idea of like what was going on.
Yeah.
And to be honest, you went to the root cause. You did all the testing and then you created a protocol based on what came back and not based on a few minor blood work that is run whenever you go to the doctor. And I feel that's, and obviously there was a step-by-step for the protocol. Like we needed to concentrate on a few things at a time. And I feel like that was a huge difference. And we're huge believers in like natural approach.
Oh no, for me, well, just to add on to what you said, like it was bone chilling because I vividly remember you asking us questions and then turning around and just saying immediately, oh yeah, you probably have these symptoms and then this symptom. I'm like, yeah, I actually do. So it's like, and like
I do have all those things. How do you know?
Right, you already have a good sense of what's going on. Like to me, it's like I've never had that before, right? And again, like I'm more than happy to share this, but we were over the moon after our first appointment with you just because of the vibe that we had and just the reassurance that like our goal like could be met, right? Or it could happen. But I'll be honest, for Melanie and I, we were very conservative when it comes to our money. Like we're very savvy with our money for our age, given where we are.
Yeah.
So that was a bit of a difficult adjustment for us. And I'm fairly certain you do recall, obviously.
Yes,
but once we started diving into the program, it wasn't even a thought. And I can sit here today, like when it comes to our health, I have no hesitation in terms of finances, right? And I'm not saying that like I'm throwing all my money away and I'm putting myself in a very deep hole, but it is like the top of my priority now. And if
Yeah.
I do need to spend money towards it, I have zero hesitation to do it. Right. So it's just a shift in, just in priorities and just in beliefs.
Sure. It's a lot. So, I mean, tell us where you are now, and then we're going to kind of go into the details of what you guys did to get here. So where are we here today?
Well, I'm 19 weeks pregnant.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're feeling so much better. I mean, we've worked, like my digestive problems are pretty much non-existent. My anxiety is so much under control.
Your hair is beautiful and glowing and no
Oh.
falling out. That was a big one.
My overall health and my energy, like I feel great. And honestly, pregnancy has brought a few things on, like aches and pains. But I have to admit, like so far, I count myself pretty lucky. Like it's been a pretty great pregnancy. So, and I feel like it's all the prep we did before to bring me where I am now.
Yeah, we had a really great first trimester, I would say, for sure. Justin, what about you?
Well, I'll just add on to Mel again, like just from my observations too. It's like you're eating balanced meals throughout the day, high protein, but you eat so much more than I've ever seen you before, which is a good thing, right? And hydration, you're like up to like 4+ liters of water a day, and it's like you have zero issues with. Well, for myself, like I'm ecstatic that Mel's pregnant, obviously, because our ultimate goal in life was to have a family together. So already feeling the dad effects, if you will, in terms of being protective and whatnot. But just in terms of my health, I keep saying this to my parents, in-laws, Mel, all the time. I feel better today in my 30s than at any point in my life, including in my teens. So like that's saying something, right?
Yeah,
like,
that's
that just
crazy.
means, like all the work that we've put into, like I've never been so performant, like whether it's focused at work, just sleeping, exercise, anything, you name it. Like I'm just
on top of the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And in terms of my acne, which was one of my biggest problems, I still have some that shows up from time to time, but as a whole, like not only has it mostly disappeared, even the scarring itself has diminished considerably, right? So to me, I just know that whatever it is I'm doing now is working, and I just know that if I keep going, it's just going to keep getting better and better, right?
How did we get here? What were the really big things that you feel like in the journey? I would love to hear from your perspective. What were some of the things that really made you feel like you were moving in the right direction and got you here?
First off, and I know we talked about it briefly, but just having someone that listens to you, to your problems, and understands where you're coming from and what your ultimate goal is a huge thing. And second of all, I would say just having that confidence in that person that you're working with is so important. And I feel like we never had that until we met you. Right. But aside from that, I mean, just doing the lab works. And for me, the most eye-opening one was the stool test and the
environmental toxin.
Well, for me, that was the biggest one, the heavy metals and the environmental toxins. Like,
because I never thought that I would see those numbers, and seeing those numbers were really awakening. It's like, okay, it has a huge impact on your health, right, and like your hormones and everything. Those were like the major ones. Obviously, there was other ones that came up, like even my progesterone and everything was slightly low because we tested on different days, which I never had that done before, and which came back lower. We had to work on that.
Yeah, and just to jump to what Mel is saying, like just like the results from some of the lab works for Mel, like it was alarming because like we still considered ourselves healthy, if you will. Like we were still cautious with the source of our foods and trying to drink water, but starting the program, you quickly realize that like, yeah, good, like you're doing those things, but like is it good quality water that you're drinking? So that we slowly realized like, no, we weren't. Complete garbage. And same thing with some of the foods, right? Or exposing ourselves to toxins, whereas like microplastics and stuff like that. And we quickly realized that like, okay, there's actually a lot of work to do to get those numbers down, right?
And look, like I'm not gonna sugarcoat it because obviously it wasn't easy. No. It wasn't an easy journey. No. And I feel like, I mean, usually in life, the things that are hard are so worth it. Yeah. And I feel like, probably like the parasite protocol was the toughest on me, just how I felt, like nausea and everything. But I mean, there was things that I did to support my body and help it out, like drinking teas and dry brushing and things like that. That was probably the most intense. And the detox itself, the 10-week detox, was very, you needed to be committed. Like, and I
110.
remember when we met you, we're 110% committed. Like, we want to achieve our goals.
Yeah.
Like
As soon as
sooner.
possible. Yeah, like yesterday.
That's
Yeah.
right. We love adding
So-
like small personal stories to this, and like your Melanie's mentioning about the parasite protocol. And I remember the first time we had done the full moon protocol, we were also at that point in the 10-week detox program where you were suggesting to start doing saunas frequently, right? And I remember we had gone to our rec center, a local rec center, to do their sauna session, and I had never seen Mel look this ill ever. And like, I was worried. Like, she did not feel well whatsoever because full moon protocol and doing sauna, I think her system was completely shutting down. I don't know what was going on, but that was a bit frightening. But that just goes to show you that like there was work that needed to be done, right?
Yeah.
That's the reminder that like whatever it is that it's going on, like it's working. It's just you're going through the growing pains, right?
But looking at her journey now, it was worth every minute of it.
Yeah.
But it's just to say, like, it's not easy. You have to work hard. And I mean, obviously having support, like, I count myself lucky that Justin was in it as much as I was in it. Like,
Sure.
it was a two-way street.
Yeah.
And we wanted to achieve the same goal. And yeah, we had times that it tested our relationship, but in a good way. Like, it brought us even closer.
Yeah, there were hard times,
Yeah.
definitely.
But
Like when you would tell her to drink water when she was upset.
Yeah.
Or asking her to exercise more.
Yeah.
You should exercise if you're feeling cranky. It's like, that's not, I can tell her that you can't.
But like, I mean, overall, yeah, I would say like probably the detox, and for myself, the parasite cleanse was the hardest.
Yeah.
And then once we got through that battle, I feel like things got easier. Obviously, we saw improvements, and that kept us going. It's like, obviously it's working. I'm feeling better.
That's right.
Yeah, you get setbacks because you don't feel good, but then a few days after, you're like, wow, I feel amazing. Like, it's all worth it.
Yeah.
And you just wanted more.
And I know you had mentioned like before, like some of the symptoms that we had even prior to working with you, like your appetite wasn't always there and hydration was a big issue. And of course, starting the program, like we were going like 3 good portion meals a day, high protein diet, drinking, your floor was 3 liters of water, and like actually we're trying to get the 4. Like it was a struggle. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like and making that adjustment, like it wasn't easy, right?
And now if I don't eat enough,
You know it.
my body tells me it's
Yeah.
like, you didn't eat enough.
Yeah.
Like before, it was like normal.
Well, not only that, like I find like if you don't even have enough of your protein or the right foods, like your body tells you now, so you know like,
Yeah.
we're at that stage, right?
I'm presenting actually your case on conference that I have in front of practitioners, because one of the things that I do is collect data, right? So we look at like your Aura Ring findings for you, Mel, and even like looking at your diet at the beginning. And I remember looking at it and being like, you had oatmeal and strawberries for breakfast, and you had like 1 pouch of, and that was like, I'm having a great breakfast. And then you would have like apples and some nuts for lunch because that's how hungry you were. And then like dinner is usually okay.
Yeah.
But you look at that stuff and you're just like, I'm healthy because I'm eating apples and I'm eating nuts
Yeah.
and I'm eating oatmeal
Yeah.
and I'm eating fruit. And it's
Oh.
just like this whole other level of thinking and understanding food and
Yeah.
fuel and what you need and how your body functions.
That's hilarious when you think about it. Well, I mean, yes and no. Like you laugh about it now, right? But
Yep.
like, you thought that you were doing the right thing. You're like, well, I'm feeding my body healthy stuff,
For sure.
but I wasn't eating the right
Yeah.
stuff.
Talk people through how you kept going despite the fact that there were some setbacks, or you just like weren't pregnant yet and it's been 9 months.
Sometimes, yeah, we doubted ourselves because we were wondering, like, is this ever going to happen? Because I was hearing other people getting pregnant and I was so happy for them. And I'm like, when is it our time? And I feel like, I mean, we did some retesting to get new data, like where my blood was at, where my hormones, and then you created like a new protocol based on where I was now compared to where I was before, because obviously there was a huge difference, but there was still work to be done. Well, first of all, seeing the difference between the data that you took maybe 6 months after compared to the start, well, that to me was enough to keep me going.
Mhm.
Was like, obviously what you're doing is working. And I know, I mean, your body doesn't repair itself in a few months, and even even after 6 months it takes longer, and there's certain things that takes even longer. So I needed to be patient. I can't say it was easy because I just wanted my time to come.
Yeah.
But I knew if I kept going in that direction that I would get the results I wanted. I mean, we tried new supplements too for my hormones and a few things like that. I did more liver pushes, I did more parasite pushes, and just concentrate on that.
It wasn't that I was doubting myself that we could achieve this. Like, I think it came to a point where like the 10-week detox, that's a heck of a ride, honestly. Like it's a lot of work. Okay.
Yeah.
Like again though, like we're not sugarcoating this. Like it's a lot of work. Okay. And for me personally, like yeah, I'm doing all those physical changes, but I felt as mentally I was exhausted. I was getting more and more tired, and the questioning was more coming from just me feeling like mentally I just wasn't in I wouldn't say in a good state, but like I wasn't able to keep up right with all the changes. So for me, it was absolutely beneficial to start seeing a counselor, not only just to like reboot and like boost myself up, but also, as we mentioned about it being so important for our relationship, I needed better guidance on how to be able to support Mel. Because yes, we're doing this together, but we both had different symptoms or like going throughout. So for me, it was paramount to make sure that Mel was okay and making sure that I could be there for her as well. So I found that incredibly important throughout this journey. And I still am seeing a counselor to this day, even when things are going great, just to get that support. Second thing, and this, you can say otherwise if you feel so, this wasn't the hardest part for, I'm trying not to get emotional, but for me, the hardest part about this entire journey was us finishing the 10-week protocol and doing a few like the parasite cleanses and stuff like that, and retested, and like we were very close, and we felt like it could happen anytime. And we had tried for 3-4 months and it didn't happen, and I felt like that was like it was a blow to the stomach, right? We felt ready, right, for it to happen, and not only did it not happen, but on top of that, we went to 2 weddings in June, and then we both got really sick, so that was a setback. And then we started working hard throughout the summer to get back to a good place, and then we went to another 2 weddings in September, and then we got sick again.
If you look back on it, would you like not have gone to those weddings? Do you know, like, what would you tell yourself 6 months ago?
For ourselves, we put a lot of stuff on hold. We said no to many outings, just going to the restaurant, because we knew and that we needed to concentrate on ourselves. Because I mean, it takes a lot of work, it's demanding, and we couldn't always show up and go hang out with friends. So yeah, we had to say no. Looking back, I mean, maybe the weddings in September, we should have maybe took a step back, and because we were in the process of actually trying. But then again, I'm like, maybe my body needed to go through this just to get it stronger. So there's a two-way to look at it. Like maybe my body needed another like boost of like, okay, you got immune, you're all
boosting your immune system. Yeah, totally. Building up your resiliency.
But it is a great question, because I think one of the points that we can take from our journey is being so much more in tune with our body and being able to listen to it for signs far sooner. So yes, like when it comes to certain events such as a wedding, now I would say we would make sure that when it comes time for the event, like it's within days away, we listen to our bodies and say like, are we in a good place to be able to go to the event, right? Whereas before I'd be like, oh, I don't care if I'm sick or if I've got like 2 hours of sleep, like I'll go no matter what, and I'll deal with the consequences after. Whereas now, like we make sure that we're in a good place to be able to do such things, right? So
I mean, honestly, it's such a hard balance for everybody who's struggling with infertility, because it's like you still want to live your life and you still want to go out. And if you didn't go to the wedding, maybe you could have gotten sick somewhere else anyways, right? Even though it feels like it's a setback in the moment, that maybe it was just like the thing that needed to happen exactly. And you never know what the answer is. Did you guys actually have any regrets around that? Or was it more of just like a reflection?
Yeah, maybe that was like the other bump in the road that we needed to go through before we got the amazing news that we've been waiting for over 4 years.
And I just think it's a true reminder that going through this, like, it's not done overnight. You know what I mean? Like, it's like it's a lot of work, it's a lot of time, and it pays off to do so. So it's like it's not an easy fix, it's not a quick fix, it's not cutting corners. So it's like it'll happen. Just keep trusting the process and just know that it's gonna happen.
Sometimes you question yourself, and I mean, luckily we have amazing parents that supported us through this
Friends
entire
too.
journey, and our friends. But yeah, I was at the point, I'm like, I need this to happen, because I mean, there's nothing more that we want than to have like our own baby.
I think it was pivotal for this journey, for our journey, right? For Mel to like really feel those emotions and let them out instead of just keeping them inside, right? And I vividly remember that appointment too, and it's like it was very impactful, right? And I think it really helped turn a corner. And
it's something maybe I should have faced before, and I'm not good at being vulnerable and being emotional, but I've learned to accept it more. And I feel like being pregnant, I don't know, it changed me for the good, because now I feel like I let my emotions out more instead of like keeping them inside.
Thank you for being vulnerable and sharing this, because when I look at fertility, I kind of try to think about like, what's the constraint? What's the thing that's preventing you from getting pregnant? And the thing that was preventing you from getting pregnant when we first met versus when we were like 9-10 months in was different. And sometimes we focus so much on the physical body, we forget that our mental and emotional body is just as important in dictating what's going on in our physical body. So registering stress, for example, if you think you're stressed, it doesn't matter if you actually are stressed or not. Just you thinking about it creates the same response in the body. Truthfully, that's something that we're still working on through the pregnancy to really help, because it's not a one and done. It's something that you just can, and unfortunately, you don't know how long you have to work on what until it's like, here we go. You did the deed, and then it's out of your control. You don't have any control until you have that first ultrasound or you have that first, blood work, and it can confirm the pregnancy. So it's a really hard space to be in, especially if you have a background of being anxious, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. And I feel just because it took us longer to get pregnant, and mostly the first trimester was a bit harder on me, because
For sure. You don't know what's going on.
No, I was more scared. I just wanted this to work. I just needed this to work. And I mean, I trusted my body, but it was like I'm at a good point now with my body, but it was still hard, because looking back, it's failed me so many times.
Do you think if you got pregnant a year ago, what would that be like?
Looking back, I'm glad that I didn't get pregnant a year ago, because I needed to work on myself. I needed to, whether it was my digestive issues, my anxiety, and everything like that. Like, I needed to get healthier and concentrate on myself for me to bring a baby in this life, like a healthy baby. Like, I needed to put myself first for me to achieve what I really wanted to achieve. So no, I don't think it would have been the same. I mean, I would have been happy to get pregnant a year ago.
Of course, yeah.
But the outcome of it, I would have probably struggled throughout pregnancy. It wouldn't have been the same journey for sure. No. And now I feel like, and I'm a huge believer in this, that everything happens for a reason. Yeah. There's a reason why our time came now compared to 4 years ago. So no, I'm truly happy where I am now compared to where I was a year ago.
It may sound a bit silly or cheesy, but for me, it's like now being so much more in tune with my body and understanding what it needs, when it needs it, just being able to take better care of myself. I have so much more confidence in bringing a child in this world, because I know for a fact that I'll be able to take proper care of it. So it's like, to me, it makes all the difference in the world for sure. Like, I have no doubt in myself, in ourselves, I should say.
And this is why I'm so excited to share your journey, because what I'm really passionate about is bringing healthy babies and raising healthy children. I know that it starts with healthy parents figuring it out. And it's a lot harder to figure it out once you have your child, because it's a lot harder to switch from goldfish crackers to homemade crackers. And no, you can't go out to this and you can't do that. You can't really explain it. So it's really, really powerful. And obviously, I'm very excited to meet your baby. And I know we still have some ways to go, but we've talked about this during our appointments. You guys are different people now. And like, people have noticed that. That's what I think is when I see that changes, then I know we're getting close, because you were literally like, Mel, you had people say like, you're a different person.
The confidence that I was giving out, I was more like certain about myself, like making decision, saying no to things. And it was like, wow, like you've changed.
Who are you?
Yeah, it just makes you more like powerful, I guess,
Yeah.
and more confident in yourself, that you're able to say no to things in life and be like, no,
Yeah.
like I come first.
Yeah, not feel bad, because you know it's what's
Yeah.
best for you. You know what's best for you. Nobody else does.
And
right?
I think we had like always the like part of like missing out on things,
Fear of
like
missing
the
out, yeah.
fear of missing out. But now
Yes.
it's like, no, we're not missing out on anything. Like
No.
that's not going to change my life. Like there's things
Totally.
that are not worth it.
The people that get pregnant are not the same people that are sitting in front of me today. And I don't know what those evolutions are going to be like. And I feel like we've had so many different evolutions with you, where there was the really big physical change, the 10-week detox, like putting a lot of demand on you. But because your goal, and you were so passionate about your goal, you're like, I don't care, I'll do this. But Justin, like, I'm really glad you mentioned about the counseling, because of course, like it's taboo to talk about it. But in reality, it's like, hey, why wouldn't you go and get some help and figure out how, first of all, you can process your emotions better, so you're not taking it out on your partner. And then
Yep.
second of all, like learn how to actually support one another, because those are some really big roadblocks.
Given our journey, and I know it's not the easiest journey, but I feel like it, and I mentioned it before, like it brought us closer, but we understand each other more, and like we can communicate in a better way. Like we know what we need, compared to, I'm not saying like we had a great relationship, but now I feel like it's even better now.
Yeah. Mhm.
And I feel like now that we're going to be welcoming a baby in a few months, is like, well, we need to be on the same page to raise a child.
Yes, for
So
sure.
and to us that was like a huge like accomplishment.
What are some helpful tips for others listening 18 months ago? What would you
Yeah.
tell them?
Well, first of all, never take no as an answer. If you believe in yourself, you can achieve whatever you put your mind to.
Yeah.
And I feel like, yeah, and usually the things that are hard in life are not easy, but they're so rewarding.
Yeah.
And to us, like that just proves us that if we're capable of conceiving a baby naturally, when we were told we had 5% chance, like we can do so much more. Like there's nobody can tell us no. That makes sense.
Definitely investing in your health. Get educated on the do's and don'ts and invest. That's probably one of our biggest ones, because obviously that was one of our biggest hurdles
Totally.
into starting the program. Like, and as I mentioned earlier, like we have zero hesitations now when it comes to investing in our health, because the way I see it now is, yeah, great, like I'm investing my money for a future, but if I'm in no condition to be able to enjoy that money later on in life, then what's the point? What was all this for? So my mentality for that has completely shifted.
I'm really glad you're talking about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I would just say maybe like the journey is not always easy at the beginning, and there's times that you'll doubt yourself or you'll question things, but I mean, if you keep pushing through, like you'll get what you've been looking for at the end. And I mean, I would do this all over again. Like I have no regrets whatsoever, and we learned so many things that will bring into our baby's life. Like it's just gonna keep with us. So
and like you always say, it does take two to tango, in the sense that, like, yes, Mel and I had different symptoms or things we were working through during this program, but at the end of the day, like we had to work as one to make this work, right? So it's just
like who's doing the meal prep and who's doing this and who is like to work together.
It's just always being on the same page and just having that communication and support at all times.
I remember when I met you guys and I was like, I know that this is a big leap for them. I know that, but I also know that I can help them and I want to help them. And like we got on a bunch of calls to figure this out so it would work. But deep down, I was like, I want to help these guys. Like when I have my schedule booked, every person that I see on the schedule, I'm like, I can't wait to see them and see what's going on.
We knew right away when we met you, like probably like the first 5 minutes, just talking. Like, and I told Justin at the end of our first appointment, I'm like, I know she'll bring us where we want to. Like we
It'll
had
be
that.
hell, but she'll do it.
Yeah.
That'll be
Come on,
hard.
guys, just this little mountain. And then, oh,
But it's so
sorry, one more
true.
mountain.
It's so well said, Melanie. It's not only that you helped us achieve our goal in life,
Yeah.
it's just to bring a baby in this world and start a family, but it's just having this peace of mind knowing that
Yes.
our lives has changed for the better and
Mhm.
we're in a much better position long term. Like it's priceless. And it comes back to the money. To me, having that peace, it's priceless. I would throw anything to get that. And I feel like we're pretty much there. So
For sure.
there's still work that needs to be done. Nobody's perfect, but I'm
There's
just
always work. Yeah, there's always work. And I think it's just ebbs and flows and you learn. But once you have the foundation, it's just like riding a bike, you know,
Yeah.
then you're just navigating the crazy world that's constantly changing. But you have
Yeah.
that critical lens. Anything else you guys want to add before we let you go that you feel like you didn't get a chance to say and that would be really helpful for our listeners?
Just never give up.
Totally.
Go after your goals because it will be all worth it and you'll see results. I mean, we're blessed. We've been waiting for this for many years. And like this baby is so loved right now. And it will be like so loved. And I don't know, it's so rewarding. And I get very emotional just because I'm like, I love our baby so much right now. And I haven't even actually met him.
Yeah.
But I don't know, to us, it's like, it's a different journey. Yeah. Just never give up. And
I know.
and your gut will honestly will guide you where you need to go.
Yeah, I honestly, this gut, like you said it a couple times, this gut feeling, if I can tell, and that's true because we're bombarded with so much information, but that's true about like a podcast you listen to or a book that you read or something. And it was like, this is interesting. I want to follow that. If I can just tell people like, yeah, follow that. Your gut is gonna, and when you have a block and it's like, that's not it. It might be not the right time, place, or person. And that's okay. It doesn't mean it's a forever gone, but you know, just like listen to that gut and let it evolve. But I also always say the infertility babies they're special. Bringing a baby into this world is so special. And I had to have a miscarriage to realize that, you know? And so I get to kind of relive that with my couples a little bit. And of course, you know, when the babies come and we get to meet them, that's just waterworks the whole time.
Yeah, we are eternally grateful for having this opportunity. And yeah, I don't want to be too emotional, but it's like, yeah, every single day, like I just can't believe it. Like I'm just so beyond happy and just enjoying all the prep.
Thank you guys so much for sharing your story, for having the courage and being vulnerable. It's not everybody wants to share their journey, and I understand why, and I totally respect that. But I do really appreciate when you guys do, because it helps a lot. Like I said, I meet people like you every day, 18 months ago, like you every day. And there's different reasons as to why they don't jump in on themselves. And maybe it's not trusting their gut. Maybe it's the finances. Maybe it's a belief that they really can't do it and they are broken. And so if there's anything that I can share or do through your stories to help break some of those beliefs and help people achieve their goals of their family, because again, it's like, we're not just looking for one, we're looking for multiple children that we want to have. Obviously, we're just going to focus on one right now, but it's a really powerful thing to be able to do, you know, on your own and knowing that you can do it instead of giving away that power. So thank you guys.
Well, thank you for having us. We appreciate it.